Looking for these better days.
It is Friday, March 20th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. The madness continues as the first round of the NCAA tournament will resume and conclude here today. And Luka Doncic scoring 60 as the Lakers stay red hot. Mackenzie Rivers joins me on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. And Mackenzie, we start with yesterday's first round action of the NCAA tournament. Favorites go 10-6 straight up. The dogs go 10-6 or 11-5, depending on what number you got South Florida, because they lost by 4. I guess some people did get the 4, so it could have gone 10-5-1 against the spread. If you got the best of the number, 11-5 for the underdogs yesterday in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Totals went 8-8, and first half unders 6-10. Early unders, though, the 4 early unders that we played went 3-1 with our bets. 2-2, though, officially in the database because all the lines moved. So we played TCU at 146. It closed 145. We played Louisville. That's the one that was different. We played that at 164. Mackenzie, that thing closed at 160.5. And after a 37-27 first half, that game still went over for some people, still went under for us, but what a ridiculous second half that was in Louisville, South Florida. The Troy game, we had a little negative CLV on that, 138.5, it closed 139.5. Wisconsin, 162.5, closed 161.5. So for the most part, we got the closing line value. We went 3-1. That's why it's important that you become a Better Day Insider or a premium member, or you listen to this podcast or subscribe to our newsletter so you get these plays. So given the database, the 2-2 record based off the closing lines, we are still now with the early unders at 26-10 since the start of the 2022 tournament.
The great equalizer, right? That's what the spread is. That's what the total is. All these edges are being found out. First half edge is not what it used to be.
Yeah, as we saw with the 6-10 result for the first half unders yesterday. But again, the early unders, so these are games that start before 2 o'clock Eastern time, now 26-10 to the under since the start of the 2022 tournament. And here are the early games and the odds courtesy of our friends over at the FanDuel Sportsbook. The action gets started with Kentucky taking on Santa Clara in the 10-7 matchup there. Kentucky a 3.5-point favorite, total 158.5. The 12-5 matchup between Akron and Texas Tech, with Texas Tech a 7.5-point favorite. Total is 156.5. The 116 matchup, Arizona against Long Island University. Arizona 30.5-point favorites, but the total 149.5. And the 3-14 matchup, Virginia and Wright State. UVA a 17.5-point favorite up on FanDuel. Total of 144.5. Mackenzie, we're on all 4 unders again. We're running it back.
Yeah, of course. This is one day. All these players, they don't have the experience of Thursday, so it's all the first game of the tournament for them. Which games are we isolated? Which games are you focused on?
Yeah, well, playing these 4 unders, the first 4 ones, again, before 2 o'clock. Now,
Right.
let's talk about this first game, though, for a moment, because I think we have an interesting opportunity here. So Kentucky's a 3.5-point favorite over Santa Clara. Yesterday, we had St. Mary's in their first round game against Texas A&M. St. Mary's, Mackenzie, which was the second best team in the West Coast Conference this year, despite losing to Santa Clara in the semifinals of the conference tournament, they still beat them in the regular season one time, and they were the second best team behind Gonzaga. They looked terrible against Texas A&M. And then Gonzaga, as massive favorites, as much as we love the Zags, they get a convincing win, but they didn't cover. 73-64 against Kennesaw State is nothing that, nothing to brag about there, right? Gonzaga closed as, 20.5-point favorites, and they win 73-64, a single-digit win. I think that based off the Gonzaga performance and especially the St. Mary's performance, we fade the hell out of Santa Clara here this morning.
The transitive property makes a lot of sense here. How rare is it for the WCC to have three teams in? There's two conclusions. One, there's a rare year where there's three really good teams, or the alternative is there's a rare year where the rest of the league is especially bad, and these three teams are no great shakes.
Yeah, so I'm on Kentucky here. I'm going to lay the 3.5. I think this is, as you mentioned, the transitive property here. I didn't like the way St. Mary's looked. Gonzaga obviously wasn't that impressive, and so we're going to fade the West Coast Conference here and fade Santa Clara going with Kentucky here in this game. The upsets that we saw in terms of like the bracket, the 11-6 win by Texas over BYU, which we actually had in our bracket. One of the ones that we actually got right in our bracket because we got quite a few wrong. But now
I thought it's at 100 points. I thought it was 100%. I'm like, no way. Yeah. I didn't get them all right. No,
exactly.
100 points, 36%.
Well, Texas, a team from the first four, Mackenzie, advances to the second round.
That is one that we
every year.
Yep, two wins they had. AJ Demancia, get ready for the draft.
We also talked about how like a 12 always beats a 5. We did not pick any 12-5 upsets in our bracket. And maybe we should have. The 12-seed High Point with a victory over the 5-seed Wisconsin, 83-82, in a fast-paced, high-scoring game that had plenty of drama at the end of the game. So a 12 does beat a 5 in High Point, upsetting Wisconsin. Was that one that maybe you thought about playing and then we decided not to pull the trigger on it?
Yeah, I mean, we thought about Wisconsin going out early. I honestly didn't think about them losing to High Point, but all my brackets have Arkansas winning the next game, so that helps. The Big Ten, talking about the transitive property, Nebraska gets the win, but maybe that has more to do with Troy. The rest of the Big Ten does not look that great. Ohio State going down, Wisconsin going down.
Yeah, no, that's a great point there. In our gut bracket, we also had Wisconsin, so we didn't have the upset in our. I was going to say maybe we had the upset in our gut bracket and we got off of it. No, we didn't have that in our gut bracket. There was another 11-6 win, one that we did have, VCU over North Carolina. This one took overtime, but VCU wins 82-78.
This was the controversial pick. If you liked North Carolina, the power ratings agreed with you, but it seemed like everybody, our gut bracket, we kind of saw through a pretty weak UNC team this year.
And the big story of yesterday, Mackenzie, was the scare suffered by Duke as they trailed the 16th seed Siena 43-32 at the half, but pull away to win 71-65. They just got outplayed. I mean, they flat out got outplayed by a team that didn't substitute in Siena, by the way. Like Siena became, I think it was, they might have had one sub at the end, but they became, it was in the late in the second half, they were saying the first team since like the 70s to go an entire NCAA tournament game without substituting.
Were you watching the live line at all? I have a pop quiz
Yes.
for you. What do you think the lowest the Duke money line got to?
Oh, it was minus 350, I think was the lowest it got.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It hit a point. The Siena Saints were up 11 with about 15 minutes to go, and the market thought, hey, 25% chance to win. So Duke going 5 for 36, having that, what was it, like 14-1 run to kind of end the scare. I feel like this is not a downgrade to Duke. As much as I want them to lose early because I have St. John's in the Final Four, I think this is more. This is just one of those games. I don't think they're not a top 5 team all of a sudden.
Now, many people, of course, on social media were wondering how was Steve Fezzik doing during this game? Did Fez play the Duke on the money line? Did he sweat this out? And the answer is yes. And this is something that Fez, and for those of you who don't know, Steve Fezzik famously lost $80,000 when Purdue lost to
Fairleigh Dickinson Knights.
Fairleigh Dickinson, yes. So that was one that was there. But from Fez's perspective, obviously, like he's won every other game, since, right? And even before that. And also just like it
never lost.
It just continues to cash in or whatever. Like it continues to cash or whatever. Anyway, this is something that he texted out, right? He said that, he plays the favorites of 23 or higher on the money line. And yes, he got a big scare with Duke. However, the math is overwhelming. Here on Michigan, on betting exchanges, you can risk $1,000 to win $10, or you can risk $3,000 to win, or $30,000 to win $300, right? Michigan's a 31-point favorite. They win the game over 99.7% of the time. Yes, it could lose, and don't bet more than 5% of your bankroll for your risk amount, but it's still a good bet. So I I know that it's very hard for people to comprehend this, but Mackenzie, you are as much of a math guy as Fez is a math guy. You understand when something is a 99.7% certainty and the math for the money line doesn't equal a 99%, play,
Yep.
that there's value on betting the money line.
99% of the time would not be good enough. It would be break even. So 99.7, however, is very much good enough. It's about 3 times as good as you need to bet 1 in 100 shot and get 1 in 300 odds or whichever one. There's been, 2 now? Virginia going down in 2018.
Yep.
I wonder if Fez was on that, but
No, he
if
wasn't.
you just bet
No.
all the number 1 seeds, you're going to go 19 for 20, and that's, or whatever it is. You're going to be doing well enough. The history says, obviously, things can change.
But wow, amazing. Just absolutely amazing that Duke had to struggle to get by Siena, completely outplayed. But hey, they advance, and that's all that matters. Here's the rest of your schedule here for today and the spreads. You have we mentioned the early games that we're playing. That we're playing the unders. You have Iowa State, Tennessee State. Iowa State a 24.5-point favorite. Alabama 11.5 over Hofstra. Villanova and Utah State, the 8-9 matchup. Utah State's actually a 1.5-point favorite up on FanDuel. The 11-6 matchup, Tennessee 11.5-point favorites over Miami of Ohio. Do you think Miami of Ohio got their win, Mackenzie, proved that they deserve to be in the NCAA tournament, and now that's it? We can fade them. They're not going to compete here with Tennessee.
Yeah, they're the 90th best team in the country on a per possession basis. That's what the metrics say. And I feel like they're better than that. But they're not 50 spots better than that. They're maybe 30 spots better than that. They caught lightning in a bottle to be as good as they were this year. I think that logic makes sense. They got their win in the tournament.
That's how I feel. I really feel like they got their win to prove they deserve to be in the field, and that's a good enough victory for them. In the other 8-9 game that we'll see, Iowa 2.5-point favorite over Clemson. St. John's now down to a 9.5-point favorite over Northern Iowa in the 12-5 game. Northern Iowa is becoming a trendy dog, Mackenzie. A lot of sharps played it earlier when it was north of 10. We actually gave it out as a play from AJ Hoffman at 10.5, and now it's down to 9.5.
More than one thing can be true. With Duke disappointing, I'm more confident than ever that St. John's going to make the Final Four.
Oh, yeah.
And if they don't, it's going to be because they lose this game. They just got to get past this game.
Yes, and that's it. Get past this game, win by 5 or so, and then get ready for a Final Four run. Elsewhere, the 7-10 matchup, UCLA 5.5-point favorites over UCF. Purdue in the 2-15 matchup, 25.5-point favorites over Queens. Florida, a 35.5-point favorite over Prairie View. Kansas laying 14.5 over Cal Baptist. UConn, 20.5-point favorites over Furman. Miami, a 1.5-point favorite over Missouri. That is the 7-10 matchup there. We do have lines for the Saturday games, but we'll talk about those in we'll write up a little special newsletter for the Saturday games. Some that let's just read through them real quick here. For the Saturday second round matchups, the 5-4 matchup, Nebraska and Vandy. Vandy, a 2.5-point favorite. Duke, 10.5-point favorites over TCU. Michigan, 12.5 over St. Louis. Michigan State, 4.5 over Louisville. Arkansas, 11.5 over High Point. Houston, 9.5 over Texas A&M. Gonzaga, 5.5 over Texas. And Illinois, 10.5 over VCU, your early second half lines. Mac, before we move on to the NBA, one final thing on college basketball. There was a trend, and I want to shout out Jared Smith, who pointed this out, and I actually took it a step further. But he pointed out teams that get blown out in their conference tournament game right? Their last game in the conference tournament, they get
Can't
blown
be
out.
good. This can't be a good omen.
They crush it in their first round game of the NCAA tournament.
Close, but I was way off.
So here's what I looked up. Since the 2022 tournament, so post-COVID 2021 season, the 2022 tournament, if you lost your previous game, so in your conference tournament game, whatever, you lost that game by 20 or more points, Mackenzie.
Right? Got embarrassed.
20 or more points, you lost that game. Think about that. The last time you played, you lost by 20 or more points.
Are you going to go out like that? Is this how you're going to let your brothers down their senior year? Come on, man.
In the first round of the NCAA tournament, Mackenzie, those teams are 13-3 straight up, 11-5 against the spread since the start of the 2022 tournament. And within that, 7 straight wins and 6-1 ATS in those wins. That is incredible.
Nice. So it was 5-4, pretty good. We'll take that. That's a profitable 55%. Then we went 6-1 on top of that to make it 11-5.
Now that includes the one game, and we should have known this because I bet against it, but we should have known. The one game that was here on Thursday was Texas A&M against St. Mary's. Texas A&M, who got blown out in their conference tournament, they were a team that bounced back for a big win here in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So we actually have, Mackenzie, 5 games on deck today.
Wow.
5 games on deck today that qualify. Now, Central Florida is one of these teams, but they are an underdog. And much like Texas A&M was an underdog, I kind of want to throw out the underdogs here. Because even though Texas A&M won and covered as a dog, right? The underdogs in this same time period, this same trend, are now just 3-2 straight up in ATS. The favorites, though, are 10-1 straight up, 8-3 against the spread, with a 2.8 ATS margin on an average line of minus 10.2. So, here are the favorites today. Texas Tech against Akron, Kansas against Cal Baptist, UConn against Furman, and Miami against Mizzou. I think we should be playing all 4 of those games.
That makes a lot of sense. The logic of it seems, without even looking it up, it would seem to isolate favorites, because what really is the difference? The difference is not that, this team that lost by 20 is way better than we thought they were all season. No, they have a little extra in their step. They're going to be playing through the whistle, trying to avenge that last loss. They're going to try to prove in that one game that they're better than they were. So the favorites makes a lot of sense, 8-3 ATS.
And I guess that'll start with the 12:40 Eastern time game.
So
Akron.
UConn's going to go 15-0 ATS in Bobby Hurley's tournament career.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, nice little run here. The first game in that trend that qualifies is Texas Tech against Akron, 12:40 Eastern time here this afternoon. All right, Mackenzie, let's get into the NBA. 60 points for Luka, and a 6-year drought is over.
Hey, it's Howie Mandel, and I am inviting you to witness history as me and my Howie Do It gaming team take on Gilly the King and Wallow 267's $1 million gaming in an epic Global Gaming League video game showdown. 4 rounds, multiple games, 1 winner, plus a halftime performance by multi-platinum artist Travie McCoy. Watch all the action and see who wins and advances to the championship match against Neo right now at globalgamingleague.com. That's globalgamingleague.com. Everybody games.
College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every night. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into bigger wins. With the College Basketball Parlay Profit Boost, here's how it works. Build any college hoops parlay you like. The early tip, the rivalry game, the ranked matchup, the late night West Coast shootout, mixed spreads, totals, props, whatever fits your read of the slate. Then just apply your profit boost and instantly bump up that potential payout. Go safe, go spicy, go with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style. Now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com/believe to get started. FanDuel, play your game. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Minimum 2-leg parlay required. Bonus issued as a non-withdrawable Boost Builder tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amounts. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. For Louisiana, call 1-877-770-7867.
Luka Doncic, 60 points last night in his highest scoring game as a Laker, as LA defeated the Miami Heat 134-126 to stay red hot. 8 straight wins now for the Los Angeles Lakers. Mackenzie Rivers, I asked you this question earlier this week when the Lakers were in the midst of this winning streak. I said, is it time to start considering them as legit contenders in the Western Conference? Your response, I believe, was 1,000% no.
I think I said 1,000. I think it went up to 1,000%. Yes, correct.
Because you say they are not even close to being on the level of the San Antonio Spurs and definitely not on the level of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Are you singing a different tune today?
I'm singing a different tune, as we do in sports media, but that doesn't necessarily mean the melody was incorrect. You look at, point differential, they're +1.5 now. Hey, that's a lot better when they were negative a couple weeks ago, but it's still not 6, which is what the Knicks are. It's still not 7.5, which is what the Celtics are, 7, which the Spurs are, +11, which is what the Thunder are. Hey, teams have, had bad statistical profiles and done well, but very rarely. Not many. This would buck a lot of history, but the reason I'm saying a different tune is because Luka Doncic is playing like the best player in the world. At the drop of a hat. It seems like yesterday that he was having his 21st birthday in South Beach, and he went like, I remember betting the under in that game. He had a terrible game. He was out of shape. Hey, you celebrate in your birthday. He is all business right now at this age of his career. It seemed like the moment that he had some baby mama drama, he was like, you know what, this is my oasis. Let me play some basketball, and he's been playing like it better than anybody else in the world.
So we have a couple of teams that are on streaks right now. The Lakers, as I mentioned, 8 straight wins. The Oklahoma City Thunder have won 10 straight games, so they are streaking as well. And I believe it is now, we talked about this before, but 11 straight wins for the Atlanta Hawks. This season in the NBA, Mackenzie, teams on an 8-game or more winning streak. In their next game, 23-7 straight up, but only 16-14 against the spread. Do we look to fade the Lakers in their next game, or is this train is too hyped to get in front of right now?
No, I think you do look to fade the Lakers. And we were talking about how the market was going to be so against them. They got into South Beach yesterday at 5 a.m. reportedly. And it went all the way up to 5.5, even though nobody was announced out. Mm-hmm. I think that was the time to be on the Lakers when everyone just assumed that the gravy train had run its course. Now I think it's the opposite. Now I think people are like, oh, well, never mind. We can't bet against the Lakers. That's exactly the time to hop on. That's when there's value.
That'll be tomorrow in Orlando. Elsewhere last night, for the first time in 6 years, the San Antonio Spurs are back in the playoffs. Not like we knew this like wasn't going to happen, right? They're the 2 seed in the Western Conference, but it was exciting because Victor Wembanyama hit the game-winning shot, and the Spurs defeated the San Antonio Spurs. 1.1 seconds left when Wemby hit the 17-foot fadeaway to defeat the Phoenix Suns. It marked the first, this according to ESPN Stats and Research, Wemby's first go-ahead bucket in the final 5 seconds of the fourth quarter or overtime in his career. He was 0 of 5 previously.
Here's the thing about why the league should be petrified. Victor Wembanyama, maybe he's the best player in the world. I don't think many people would argue about that, but he's definitely, everyone would agree, a top 5 player. Look at the other top 5 players and where they were career-wise. Luka Doncic, we were just saying, had his 21st birthday in Miami, had some playoff runs, had some ups and downs in his career with athleticism. He was a lot better today than he was at 22. If Victor Wembanyama starts adding this to his game, starts bagging some of these game winners, some of these step back fadeaways. In this game, he was plus 18. So the Spurs win by 1. They were plus 18 in 36 minutes with him on the court. So what? Minus 17 when he was off the court. He is one of a kind, and he's just going to get better. No one else is in his age bracket is within 5 points of him in value. So if you're getting basketball cards, you're getting trading cards, I think Victor Wembanyama should be about as expensive as any player ever.
The other big news in the NBA yesterday, Cade Cunningham for the Pistons is going to be out an extended period of time. Yep. It's at least the next 2 weeks or so. And he has what has been diagnosed as a collapsed lung. So they thought they thought early on it was just like back issues and whatnot, but it winds up being a collapsed lung after further evaluation. Now, the Pistons got a 117-95 win over the Wizards last night, but then again, Mackenzie, you and I probably beat the Wizards. No, that's a little disrespectful. We might need like Wemby.
No, we would win the game, but we wouldn't blow them out.
I was gonna say we might need Wemby, but like you and Wemby, we beat the Pistons. Yeah, Detroit does play tonight on the second of a back-to-back. They are hosting the Warriors. They are 6.5-point favorites. But I want to talk about them in more of a broader sense, Mackenzie, as the market has completely changed now in the Eastern Conference. The Celtics are still the favorite at plus 170. The Pistons are now down to plus 650 as the fourth favorite to represent the Eastern Conference. What is this team's outlook if they do not get Cade Cunningham back?
They have no chance. I mean, what are the 2001 Philadelphia 76ers without Allen Iverson? This is a team that is built around defense and one special offensive player. As soon as I saw the news, I thought of the Celtics. So it was about plus 250, I think, the last time we talked about it. It's ticking down, but it probably has
plus
more
170.
To do. Yeah, I think that's about right. I really think the sea is parting for the Celtics. I would still get down on that bandwagon. I think there's just too many question marks with the other teams. The Celtics coming together at the right time.
Speaking of the Celtics, they are 15-point favorites at the Grizzlies tonight. Elsewhere on your schedule tonight, the Knicks 18-point favorites at the Nets. You got the Timberwolves laying 3 at home against the Blazers. Rockets 4-point favorites at home against the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta's won 11 straight games. The Rockets stink. Well, at least in my opinion, they stink, watching them lose to the Lakers 2 games in a row. Why are we not rushing to running to the window to bet Atlanta plus 4?
So that begs a query. So you're on a streak of 11 plus.
Oh, wow. Let's look that up.
And you are an underdog of 3 or more. Yeah, this is what I thought. This is why we don't go to the rubber band here. The Atlanta Hawks are in a situation where they are 5-17 straight up. If you've won 11 straight, but you're a 3+ dog, and you're 7-15 ATS, because that's the knee-jerk reaction. Hey, this team's really good, and they shouldn't be underdogs. Well, the market usually taking all the data and not just the recent data into play. Usually, there's value fading these teams.
So I just bumped that query up to 4-point dogs because that's what they are, and it is 4-15 straight up, 6-13 ATS.
So even worse.
Even worse.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Woof. Denver 7-point favorites at home against the Raptors, and then we mentioned the Lakers. That game's on Saturday. But for Denver, after losing a game to a tanking team, do they bounce back at home here?
Yeah, they've been a really good off a loss team, really good first quarter off a loss team. So Going from Canada to the Mile High might be difficult for the Raptors. I would look at the Nuggets here.
All right. That'll wrap up this episode of Better Day. As a reminder, you can head to our homepage at betterday.com. Free plays posted daily, including another free play from one of our newest contributors in Colby Marchio, who cashed his free play yesterday with the Idaho team total under against Houston. So 1-0 on the free play. And I believe now we're running hot here with these free plays up on betterday.com. So you want to make sure you head to our homepage and check that out. Also, utilize the tools available for you on our website. Our live scores and odds page is there for free. You don't have to be a member to check that out. And as always, members get exclusive access to our tools like our NBA Game Center, player prop projections and whatnot, NHL database, and more. And to find out how you can elevate your betting game by becoming a Better Day Insider or Premium member, just simply click on the link on our homepage at betterday.com. For Mackenzie Rivers, I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
Hey, it's Howie Mandel, and I am inviting you to witness history as me and my Howie Do It gaming team take on Gilly the King and Wallow 267's $1 million gaming in an epic Global Gaming League video game showdown. 4 rounds, multiple games, 1 winner, plus a halftime performance by multi-platinum artist Travie McCoy. Watch all the action and see who wins and advances to the championship match against Neo right now at globalgamingleague.com. That's globalgamingleague.com. Everybody games.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.